Hey everybody! Happy Friday! Welcome to Freelancer Live. Alright, I am starting one moment early as per the usual. You guys know this by now, just to make sure my connection looks good. Yay! Hi Mom, my mom's here. I hope you're all having a great Friday in New York. It's been weird. The weather has been so strange and stormy all week, so it's finally sunny out. I'm very excited about that. Hi, Winnie. Hi, everybody. Charlotte will be on in just a minute. Thank you guys for coming. I'm so excited to have you. Charlotte is amazing. You guys are going to love her. She's so great. Hi, Mom. I love how my mom has been on pretty much all of these. It makes me very happy. I have very supportive parents. They're very sweet. All right, I'm just gonna add Charlotte's name back here in the comments just to make sure. There we go. You guys see, hi, we are women owned. Okay, so sorry, my video, I got a phone call. I'm gonna turn this on Do Not Disturb. All right, Charlotte is here. Let's get her in. Hi, Drew. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
Yay! Hi, Charlotte.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning over there on the West Coast.
I know. Still morning here. Good afternoon.
Thank you. It's very nice to see you.
You too. I always love talking to you and seeing your face. So thank you for
I know. I'm so
having me.
excited to have you. I'm so happy. I've been waiting for this all week. I'm just like, I've been like giddy, getting excited to chat with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yay. I've been also like binge listening to all of your podcast episodes. And they're so good. I can't wait to talk more about them. But it's so awesome. I'm just so proud of you.
Oh, that means so much to me. Thank you.
Of course. All right, well, let's get started. I'm going to start off by just introducing myself and what this is for anyone who is here today that might not have seen this before. Then I will give you an introduction with your amazing bio and all of the incredible things you're doing. And then we'll move into some back and forth. So to start, welcome to Freelancer Live, Charlotte and everybody else. This is a series that I started back in May because I was just seeing so many people talk about their own experiences on Instagram through the pandemic, like what they've been going through. And my circles include business owners and freelancers and gig workers, a lot of people in the arts field, a lot of people who own their own businesses. And I just wanted to start a platform to kind of let people share their stories and talk about what they've been going through and what they're working on, to either just educate or bring in business or give some awesome advice. So that's how Freelancer Live started. I myself am an entrepreneur. Is that what it is? I can't find my words today. I'm an entrepreneur. And my husband and I manage a wedding band collective here in New York called the Metropolitan Players. And so what we'll do today is I'll chat with Charlotte for about 30 minutes. If you guys have questions, please add them in the comments. If you want to give her a like, some hearts, any of those things, please do. She's going to say some amazing things. I know she is. So please feel free to share whatever you would like to and praise her for all the great things she's saying. And so let's get started. Welcome again, Charlotte.
Yay, thank you.
So Charlotte and I met, how many years ago now? Is that three and change, I think, years ago?
Yeah, I think it might almost been 4 already, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was like spring of 2017, I think. And we were both going to the first ever $1 Million Women Summit in New York. And we like walked in at the same time, sort of, and we're just like, didn't know what to do or what was going on. And we just like locked eyes. And just like from that moment on, it was like, okay, we're great friends. Like this is just going to be an amazing relationship. And it has been. And I'm so thankful for us walking in together. It was just like the best start. And then I remember like walking down the street that night and like talking about how like frustrated we were with the political climate on our way to go get champagne. And then we like got champagne. Where was that?
We went to the Palace Hotel in the
Yes.
champagne bar or
It was
room that they
so
have in the lobby.
fancy.
So fun.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And we just like had great conversation. And anyway, it was such a great time. And so I'm so thankful that our friendship has continued and blossomed. And I'm so proud of all that you're doing. So I'm going to share your little bio slash big bio filled with a lot of things. And then I have some questions for you.
Sure.
So this is Charlotte Chipperfield. She's the founder of Chipperfield Media and the creator of the Holistic Marketing System. She's on a mission to empower purpose-led entrepreneurs and thought leaders to make marketing decisions from a centered place, rooted in purpose and intentionality. Charlotte is the creator of the Holistic Marketing System, which helps conscious leaders create a sustainable marketing strategy and program. She teaches through her signature online course, the Holistic Marketing Roadmap, which blends mindful marketing with conscious business practices. Charlotte is also a speaker, an online contributor to Sway Media, and the host of the Holistic Marketing Podcast. Charlotte is currently writing the book, Holistic Marketing for the Conscious Business Leader. Okay, can we give her some claps and like all of the things for how many amazing things she's doing right now?
Thank you.
It's amazing. Of course, I know a little background of sort of like where you came from, of course, because we're friends. But why don't you share a little bit about sort of your journey to get to where you are today and why you've sort of centered on marketing and the holistic approach?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am based in Portland, Oregon, like you said, so on the West Coast. I actually grew up in the Portland area and then lived in San Francisco for about 10 years and then came back to Portland 2 years ago. So it's been kind of fun to be back here and closer to my family, especially in these crazy times. And yeah, I think what took me to San Francisco and the Bay Area originally was the wine industry. So I started my career in the wine industry. I did all sorts of things, was a sommelier and managed wine tasting rooms. I did a harvest internship. And what really drew me to wine was a lot of the stories behind the labels. And I just love that connection to the place and the people. And then obviously when we're having wine, we're usually sharing it with people. So it's just this amazing, I guess I don't want to call it just a product, but it's an amazing product that does connect all of us. And we can have these great conversations over wine or enjoy it at the end of the day. And so for me, I've always been into stories and loved writing. And so for me, wine marketing became really the direction to take my career. And so after working on more of the hospitality side, I went into the wine marketing side. And that's where I kind of dove headfirst into all the digital efforts. It was right when social media was becoming a big tool. And so for me, I just loved that because not only were you creating stories around the wine and sharing that with customers, but when social media got brought in, you were then having those direct one-on-one conversations with people right there on social media. So I really loved that. And so when my last job came to an end, I had always known I wanted to start a business. It was kind of always in the back of my mind. I just didn't know what it was going to look like. And so I started consulting for different wineries on their digital marketing efforts. And so Chipperfield Media was really born in 2014. And initially I operated a little bit more like an agency offering email marketing, social media services. And after a few years of doing that, I was definitely starting to see sort of two categories of clients. There were ones who were more successful than others. And so I started to really look at why was that? I started asking more of these questions, like why was this? And what I found is that the clients and businesses that were really rooted and had a very clear understanding of who they were and who they were talking to and who they served were then the ones that were more successful in marketing because they were taking a much more intentional approach. Mm-hmm. And so I essentially kind of backed out the system. So I was helping people take action and get these results. But then I was like, actually, there's two steps that need to happen before we even get into that. And so that's what led me to create the Holistic Marketing System, which really is an invitation. And I work a lot more now with female entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, but it's ultimately an invitation to kind of take a step back and like breathe for a moment and look at your business from this 10,000 foot view and kind of really think about, what is our message? How are we serving our customers or clients? And from there, you are creating this story and this narrative that is a relationship building tool ultimately. And so it's really looking at your business and your goals, but then really rooting into your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And from that place, you can create a lot more clarity and intentionality for what are our next steps. So when you know who you are, who you serve, and then you can create a brand narrative that kind of links those two together. From that place, that's when you're like, okay, yes, we need to be on Instagram because our customers are there. Or yes, let's do email marketing, instead of kind of just being reactive, because there's so many activities in marketing. And so you just be so reactive and like, let's do this, let's do that. And that gets really exhausting. And as solopreneurs, we have enough to do as it is. So yeah, you just don't need more things to do because you feel like you should be doing it. And it's really getting intentional. And I think once you have those pieces in place, then you can really start to take that action in your marketing and reach the people that you want to have the impact on.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think that's so, I mean, of course, this is like, is this a buzzword, authentic? I think it is. It's overused, but at the same time, that's sort of what people are looking for, is that authenticity with people and just being able to like know where you're coming from and just speak your truth on all of your social channels. People can connect to that because that's what they're going through and what they want to hear. I'd love to know, like, what if someone is starting out and they're like, okay, this is all great, but I've literally never thought about my purpose before or my why, and it feels so big and scary, and like, how do I even know where to start in like honing in on what that is? What is something that what kind of advice would you give to someone to sort of actually figure out what that purpose is for them?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question. I think there's almost this mindset of like finding your purpose in life is like a lifelong journey. But then there's like this other side of it sometimes for like, well, your purpose will just show up one day and it'll just like land in your lap. So,
yeah.
I don't think it works in either one of those ways. I mean, I honestly think it's a lot of just like self-discovery, but also in the learning from the experiences we have. And I think what we do over time is we gravitate towards the things we obviously really like to do. And so I think from there, then it's deciding, okay, this is something I really enjoy doing. There's potential revenue in me helping other people either overcome this obstacle or create marketing systems, for example. And I think then it's like assigning that as your purpose. Mm-hmm. So there is sort of almost a test and learn. There's a lot of learning from our experiences, but then leaning into what you're good at, but also what you like to do. And then from there, it's kind of just deciding this is how I'm going to show up. And you know, I've done a lot of work even this year on finding my own purpose and trying to assign what that looks like. Because I think your purpose goes bigger than just what you do for work. I think it is how you show up in your personal life and in your business. And for me, I found that my purpose is to hold space, which might sound really simple, but I do this and I realize I had this like huge epiphany that I just do this naturally. And if it is with friends over coffee, but holding that space for people where they're safe to express what's happening in their lives. And I think I'm naturally a really good listener. So for me, I can hold these containers for people one-on-one where they then walk away feeling a lot more empowered and inspired. And so it's taken me, 36 years to figure that out, but It was kind of like, oh, wait, that makes sense. And so I do the same thing in my work too, where I'm holding this space for people to get that clarity that they need to take the next steps to really move the needle in their business.
I love that. I love that. And I smiled so big when you said you were a good listener, because I don't know why, but before this happened today, I was like, doing my makeup, and I was just thinking of like attributes about you. Like if I were to describe you to somebody, and one of the first things that popped into my head was how good of a listener you are. You're such a good listener, and you're so good at like distilling what people need and then like pumping something out back to them that is not like, you should do this, you must do this, this is the answer, but like, just like, hey, I heard you and your feelings are valid and this is maybe something you can try. Like that's just something, just from like being your friend and even hearing you talk about marketing, it just like, that was one of the biggest things that popped into my brain, is like, you're just so good at that. You're so good at that. And
thank you.
It's such an amazing skill to have, especially in the work that you do, just being able to sort of distill what people are actually saying and what they're really feeling, and really like listen to them kind of deeper than what they might even be telling you on the surface, to really sort of pull out from them what you can do to help. But yeah, you are a very good listener. I love that you've sort of honed in on that. And I did want to talk a little bit about kind of along that vein of what you were just saying, is that we had a call, I don't even know, like a couple weeks ago. And one of the things that we were talking about is just how this pandemic has been for us personally and for our business, and like how we've just been pounding the pavement, like working 24/7, and it's been crazy. But so there hasn't really been extra time for us to do necessarily, you know, everything maybe we wanted to do. But what it has offered us is a little bit of, like, let's say, space to sort of really figure out what we love to do, or what we were doing in our business that we don't love to do and would prefer not to do anymore, or like how we can restructure our businesses and our lives to sort of like meld the two together in a way that really makes sense for how we want our life to look. I'd love to hear kind of your process through this pandemic and how that has sort of given you this space to hone in on what your purpose is and what you really want to do with your business moving forward versus maybe what it looked like before.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what a crazy year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I remember I went with another entrepreneur in December for like this is the first time I've like taken 2 days away. We went on like a retreat, planned things, and I was like, this is going to be the best year ever. And it's like 3 years into it, that plan was like,
yeah, it was gone.
Throw it away. I was like, okay. But I mean, not all of it was thrown out, but yeah, I mean, I think when it all kind of happened, we were talking about like, everyone's like, oh, I have all this time and everyone's making sourdough bread. And I'm like, where is all your time coming from? I am now like even more busy in the sense, because it was like, do I need to completely do a 180 and pivot my business? Like, what do I do? And I think there's so much uncertainty and unknown. And for me, you know, it was described to me in the beginning, it's almost like a pressure test. It's like a pressure test for your business to see like how sturdy is your foundation. And I think we can get really caught up in like shiny objects, and we're trying lots of different things. And ultimately, I think when you're kind of in these pressure situations, the core of your business is what then becomes like this tree trunk, and is like the roots that keep you grounded. Yeah. And all those other little things that you were trying are like these branches that now get cut off. And so in a way, I think it was a little bit of an invitation to get really focused on like, what is the core of your business and how are you showing up? And so for me, I think it gave me the opportunity to kind of reflect more on, you know, even how I spend my time every day, and like what's really necessary and what's really helping me move forward, and like what really helps the people I work with and the clients, versus like what sounds fun or like I see other businesses doing and I'm like, I don't know, am I supposed to be doing that? And so I think it just helped me really lean into my own messaging a lot more and my own purpose. And from there, it's actually been really fun because I've been inspired to create new things. Like I created the course because I was like, I want this to be accessible for more people. And so for me, that was really a fun creative outlet, but it's also now this tool that I have that can help more people. So I think it's been crazy and it was a lot of uncertainty, but I think ultimately it is an invitation to kind of really lean into not only who you are, but how do you want to be showing up in the world and how do you want to serve the world? And from there, it's allowed me a little bit of that space to create new things. So the course has come out of that. Podcast has come out of that. Even 6 months ago, if you told me I would have had a podcast, I'd be like, nah, no way. But now it's like one of the most fun things I've ever done. Like I'm having so much fun with it. And
you're so good at it too.
I know. I've been getting so much feedback, and I was like, I have not expected that. I was so nervous and concerned about it, but I've just been getting really good feedback. I'm like, wow, this is actually a skill I didn't realize I had. Apparently I'm really good at interviewing people, and people love the cadence. And like you were saying, like the listening and repeating back. I mean, sometimes like our biggest strengths, I think we don't sometimes see because it's so natural to us.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. It is so interesting how we've been able to, or not just us, but so many people have been able to use this time to like, just like, I was talking to Lisa from We Are Women Owned, who's on the call today. We were talking yesterday about how like, I've been sort of helping her on that. And we've just been throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, because it's like, sometimes like this was kind of like you said, an open invitation to just like actually focus or try things that you've never tried before and really see how it goes. Like even this Freelancer Live, like I found something similar. I love interviewing people. Like I find so much joy in doing it. And I was like, I did not think I was going to do that. I thought it was more of a platform I'd get on and people would just like speak. And yet I get on these calls and I'm like so energized and so excited. So it's been like a really, really awesome time to just like kind of figure that stuff out. In the midst of you figuring this stuff out, though, you did launch like a bazillion things and you're working on so many. Tell us everything that you're working on. I'm so excited to hear.
Yes. I mean, I think it's just allowed me the space again to like refine my process, which is really exciting because it's really helping clients move forward and like create the sustainable marketing framework. So, I have what I call the 3 F's of marketing, and it starts like the foundation, the framework, and the formation. And so there's sort of these 3 steps. Again, that foundation is really rooting into your purpose and kind of doing a lot of that self-reflection, both personally, but also for your business and looking at your core values and what you stand for. And then it's moving into the messaging and understanding who your customer and client is. And then from there, it's creating that marketing strategy. So my goal is ultimately to have people get into this phase and create this marketing strategy, but then you might have to come back and tweak it here and there if you or go all in on Instagram, but then realize actually LinkedIn might be a little bit of a better place to spend your efforts. Like you may shift things like that or try new platforms, but ultimately you're always going to know what your messaging is and who you're trying to reach. So you should never really have to start your marketing strategy over again. It's really a lot of direction and clarity. And so I have the holistic marketing system, which is the way that people can work with me one-on-one and we can go through that system together. But I also created a course, which is me on video, taking you through that process where people can do it at their own pace and have lifetime access to it. So again, if you ever are like feeling like you're kind of just reacting versus being proactive in your marketing, you can always come back to the course and kind of recenter, reconnect to your purpose, and then be like, okay, that's right. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're going to stop doing this and try something new. So those are the 2 ways to work with me. And then I launched the podcast, so the Holistic Marketing Podcast.
Which is so awesome. Everybody, please listen to it. Like, no matter what kind of business you're in or what you're doing, if you have a social media account, like it will help you. So listen to it.
Yeah,
sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going. I just want to give you a little plug.
I appreciate that. Thank you. The podcast every week on Tuesday. You should be able to find that on all podcast platforms. What else am I doing? I am doing a webinar next week on Thursday. It's a free webinar. I'm going to be talking more about the system and giving some people some key takeaways they can be working on right now. I am working on the book too. I think that keeps getting put to the bottom of the to-do list, but it's always been my goal to write a book. And so it's been really fun to kind of put that together, and it keeps shape shifting a little bit. So it probably won't come out until like next year, but
the process to write a book. Oh,
it is
goodness.
a process. Yes. Oh, but it's fun.
That's so exciting. I know it's been a dream of yours. So like, as soon as I saw you were doing that, I was so excited for you. And you're also contributing to Sway Media. So tell us about that and kind of how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sway Media is, we met Aman also at the $1 Million Women, and she has created a platform that helps really elevate female voices in media. So there's all sorts of different contributors on that platform on lots of different topics and some really powerful content. And so my focus there is to really talk a little bit about holistic marketing, but I also talk a lot about conscious business leaders and how you become a conscious business leader. I'm actually submitting my next article today. So that should come out in the next week. But it's just for me, I mean, writing, again, I just love writing, and it's one of my favorite ways to communicate. So for me, that's also been a fun project and keeps me accountable to to writing and staying consistent there.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about me / anyone else who doesn't know, like, what is a conscious business leader and how do you build the foundation to either become one or continue to be one if you are, but don't really know that that's what you are?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really leading with your heart and your mind. It's not just being focused on sort of this traditional capitalist mindset of like just profit, money, profit, 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 But, they talk a lot about triple bottom line. So a B Corp world, or I'm a certified benefit corporation for good, which allows my LLC to also be accountable to the principles of people, profit, and planet. And so it is thinking bigger. It's like, how are we treating all of our vendors, our contractors, or if people have employees? It's also thinking about what is your environmental impact, and how are you giving back to your communities that surround your business? So for me, it's a conscious business leader, someone who's leading with their heart and their minds and empathy, but also thinking about every single person, from the customers to your vendors, all your stakeholders. When anyone's interacting with the ecosystem of the business, what is their experience? Are they walking away with a positive experience? Are they feeling inspired? Are they going to go tell their friends and family about you? Do your employees love to show up to work? And it's more than just work for them. They're able to lean into their own purpose and feel like they're contributing to a bigger vision. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think it's ultimately, business leaders who are out there doing good as much as they are also earning money, because that's important. That keeps everything keep moving forward and the lights on, and we need that. It's just as important, but I think we also need to take care of all the people around us as well.
Yeah, that's so true. And, I have I'm not sure if you have a clear and concise answer to this question. I feel like there isn't one, but in my brain, at least, it feels like when you're a conscious business leader and you're so passionate about what you do and you want to give, and you just have that sort of side to you, and you want to look out for everybody and pay everybody what they're worth and all of that stuff. Sometimes I feel like it is at odds with profit and with actually making money, or running your business and paying yourself. How do you navigate making sure that you're bringing in enough money and doing all the things that you want to do for good, financially, while also still making sure you're paying attention to that kind of, what do you call it? To your values, I guess. So those things that really matter to you in your business.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things is not to look at them as separate, and to look at them as always being interconnected. One of the things I always recommend to clients is to put your values next to your desk, and to look at them every single morning, so that you are reminded of why you are doing what you are doing. I also help people create value propositions that are an internal anchor to that as well. So it's, again, thinking about who you are, who you serve, and how you do that. Because I think when you kind of calibrate to that each morning, or to each day, or throughout your day, then you are reminded of, yes, this is what I need to be doing to help move that mission forward. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of studies actually coming out that people, or companies that are focused on this triple bottom line, are actually making more money than the traditional models. So,
oh, amazing.
Yes, I think that's really exciting, because I think also customers were the market is demanding that. I know that I want to buy from companies that aren't just using a bunch of plastic and dumping it in the ocean, for example. They're being conscious and intentional about their own packaging and their supply chain, and they're supporting people who are doing good and have good hearts. And so for me, that's really important as a customer. So it's also important for me as a business leader. And I think if you can really lead from those values, it becomes more natural, but then you're also going to resonate with other people who are also going to then, your customers are going to have those shared values. So I think that's, again, building this community around a brand, which I'm a big fan of, versus it just being a numbers game.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that answer. That's so great. And we have a few things in here. I know Lisa from We Are Women Owned, that's one of the biggest things we've been talking about recently. Lisa, the question was partially for you. But really, I think it can be difficult, because I think that when you want to do good, sometimes it's more expensive almost to run your company, or you just want to give, and you're just I could just do this for free because I love it so much. Yet you forget to think about all of the ways that you can help if you're actually bringing in money and pumping that back into the system in the ways that are actually thoughtful. So I love that. I cannot believe every time we do these, they're it's almost 30 minutes. I'm what is happening?
I feel like we just started.
I know. Oh my goodness. Do you mind if we go a little over? Is that okay?
No, that's
okay. Amazing. And if people want to stick around, we're happy to have you. Because I kind of want to take what you just said and ask one question further into that, which is, it's actually funny because one of the podcasts I was listening to of yours this morning you were talking about values. And now I can't remember her name, but it was the friend that you were going to go on a kayaking trip with. And then, of course, I remember her story. Yes. And so one of the things that I, remember her saying at one point is that, people start with a list of like 60 values or something, and then are like, these are all really important to me. Like, how do you take everything that you love and that you care about and that's important to you and really hone in on the values that are most important to you? And if you are doing that, when you are doing that, how many values should you sort of plan on honing it down to?
Yeah, I know it's a big task. And yes, that podcast is like amazing. I feel like I didn't talk at all in that one because I was like, tell me all of the information.
It was so good. So good.
She's
I'll have
amazing.
to put that in the notes after so people can listen to that one in particular.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's, looking at our personal values and there's the business values, which there's usually an overlap in them. But I think ultimately when you have like 60 values, it's most likely that they can be grouped into different areas with like an overarching word that means these 5 things.
Yeah.
So it is kind of, I think, refining and looking at, how can you create different buckets that they fit into. With a business specifically, I mean, I encourage clients to really root down into 4 to 5 core values. And I think that becomes very manageable. Not only can you remember 4 to 5, but I think you can live in those 4 to 5. And then what I actually take the core values is I then leverage that in the content strategy. So your 4 to 5 content pillars, so usually if we say there's 4 content pillars, I then leverage that in the content. So that becomes your 4 content pillars that you're creating content from. So if you're, on social media or on Instagram, for example, and you want to post 1 or 2 times a day or a week, I mean, you just rotate through those content buckets and those pillars. So I mean, ultimately, if you have 4 content pillars or 4 core values, they become your 4 content pillars. So then you could post once a week from each of those different core values. And so you can tell a story that reiterates those values. There's all sorts of different things that you can do to kind of connect that and speak on those different values. And then by rotating through them, you're also reiterating to your audience what you stand for, and then will attract more people who resonate and want to hear more about that. There's actually a brand, I think we may have talked about them because they make amazing non-dairy cheeses, but Miyoko's.
Oh yes, Miyoko's. I love Miyoko's.
Yes, me too. They do a really good job. I mean, they have their core values written on their website. They also really live and breathe them. And you'll see like on their Instagram, for example, if you go there, you'll see that they talk about, I'm trying to think what some of their values actually have them written here. Yeah. So they talk about integrity, both of like the quality of the products. So they're really trying to elevate vegan products and the integrity behind the quality of ingredients, but also the producers they use. They talk about ethics around animal treatment. Mm-hmm. So they often post really cute, adorable photos around cows. And conviviality is another one. So it's about coming together, and they also show their products, on amazing cheese boards and things like that. So I think ultimately it's just really like getting rooted down again into what really defines you and what you stand for. And then from there, it's kind of, can you create an overarching name or word for it that you can then leverage and use in your different communications.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think I have to do that for myself, because I think what happens to so many of us business leaders is that we hear like, oh, you have to define your values, and then you have to live by them, and then you have to do all these things with them, and you're like, cool, and then you just don't do it and don't know where to start, because it feels like such a massive thing to try to like distill all the things you care about and all the things you do into like 5 things that then you live by. But like even your example of Miyoko's really simplifies it in such a way that like, yes, like the treatment of animals is actually a huge thing. But just using that as like an overarching idea and value that they live by, they're able to post these pictures of these cute cows, super cute cows. So I love that. And I think that's great. And I think it's a great testament to what you do and how you're able to help businesses really find those things for themselves and then live by them and then put them into their own social media strategy. And I was looking at your kind of the outline of your course, which I kind of want you to say a few things about because I'm so excited about it. And I think one of the things that I want to sort of focus on within the course is the fact that it's a way for people to sort of like one-stop shop in a way to do their whole, like the holistic marketing strategy, which is what you do, to really like start with that foundation you were talking about and really build on it and then be able to implement those things on their own. And if any of those, you know, things change or they find out that something needs to move, they have that base foundation. So can you kind of walk people through, like, if they were to be interested in your course, kind of how does it work and what kinds of things do you take them through? How many modules are there? So that, and what kind of thing will they leave your course with at the end of the day?
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah, like the core values we were just talking about is actually a big chunk of that first foundational piece. So yeah, again, it's broken into like the three parts. So the foundation, framework, and the formation. So it really does start kind of at this bigger picture. Like I have you do a few different exercises to root into your personal values, but then we shift into the business as well. And for me, it's getting really clear on who you are as a company and what you stand for, because that is what's going to kind of root you just like a tree, right? You got to have those roots in the ground. And then as you're swaying, like you might have different branches in marketing, but it really is about making sure you have a very core center. So the whole foundation piece is really looking at kind of the bigger picture, the vision of your company, what you stand for, and then we look at who your customers are. So really understanding who do you serve. I mean, there's 7 billion people in the world and we can't serve all those people. And I think that would be overwhelming for any business. So, so it's really drilling into who they are, but also where are they spending their time online and where are they? I mean, I guess everything's online now. I mean, you could be talking about events as well, but most things are done online now. So it's really understanding more of their behaviors. So then you have kind of who you are, who your customer is, and then what I love to use the bridge to connect those two is what I call the brand story. So that's kind of how you talk about your company and then also how you want other people to be talking your company. And it's really creating a narrative around like ultimately pulling in those people, right? So you want your ideal customer to lean forward and go, oh, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
So that's what I really love about marketing is it really is just relationships. It's building these connections. So we walk through all that in the course, and then it's really shifting into the brand story. And then from there, then we get into the nitty gritty of what is your marketing strategy. So it's really taking from this big vision, big ideas, all the way down to what hashtags are we going to use on Instagram? So
amazing.
my goal is really for anyone who takes the course to walk away feeling really empowered, knowing exactly what marketing is, the role it plays in their business, and then how they're going to execute it. So it takes it from setting the intention and the vision all the way through to how we're going to execute it.
That's so valuable. That is because I think that's the hardest thing for anybody, whether a business owner or just somebody who's trying to grow their following on Instagram or a performer or whoever. Like, how do you take all of these ideas you have in your head and all of who you think you want to talk to and actually distill it into, like you said, the simplest thing, like, or the smallest thing, like what hashtags do you use? Like, I think it's so daunting for some people that it's just like a wall up and then nothing ever happens.
It is. It's so overwhelming. And there's literally thousands of different activities that fall under the umbrella of marketing. So it's like, how do you pick that? And so part of this course is when you look at where your audience is spending their time, then it becomes a lot more clear where you should be spending your time.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about being in all the places because someone told you you should be. And it's getting that very intentional about the core marketing activities. And so I encourage people in this course to pick the 3 core marketing activities so that you are focused on those 3 things. And then as you start executing them, you're going to get that feedback of what's kind of working, what's not working. And that's where then you can kind of start to shift. And maybe there's a couple other things that you want to test and learn. So it's kind of like, what are your core marketing activities? And then where can you kind of test and learn and play? And then maybe one of those things is going to be shifted into one of your core marketing activities. So it's really getting clear on like your own bandwidth and resources, but then also like how can you show up for your customers? And it's not about just overextending yourself and burning out. And I think that's why a lot of people do the stop-start marketing. But that ultimately isn't a strategy. It just burns you out and makes you more exhausted and resentful that you have to do it.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, I want to end that for all solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. No more of that.
Yes, I am with you on that 100%. That's so smart. And then I would imagine too, that like, if you are a solopreneur or you are an entrepreneur and you have a team, that once you either hire someone or want to pass it along to your team, this foundational work will really help you be able to just like give them what they need to be able to take it forward for you in your own brand voice and style, and not have to wonder like, what the heck am I supposed to do with your social media channels?
Yes, no, that's so true. And that was my other intention behind this, is that as you are delegating or even plan to delegate, I think that's the other thing when we do hit this point of burnout, we're like, I just want to hire someone and pay them and they'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's like great. And I guess as the person that has been delegated to in the past, like if there is no vision or any idea of where we're going or what really results are sought after to help move the needle in the business, then there's this huge disconnect. And then, I have obviously my perception and my map of the world and how I think I can help someone, but sometimes that's not what's happening in their head. And so then there is this kind of like, we're just like helping each other move through the dark, and there's no clear understanding.
Blind leading the blind.
Yes, exactly. So yes, it does help. And I think that's one of the things, if you are, delegating to a virtual assistant or to an agency or bringing on marketing help, I mean, everyone has their own perspective of what marketing means. So the more that you can present like, hey, this is what marketing looks like for us. This is why it's important to us. And this is kind of our expectations for it. And when you can get really clear on that, you can go a lot further faster, especially as you start to delegate. But again, I think part of the responsibility of being a CEO and a founder is to really hold the vision and keep people accountable to it. And that does mean, educating yourself a little bit on finances. Even if you're going to delegate it, you still need to understand what those statements say. Yeah. Same with marketing. I think you got to be really clear on what marketing means to you as an organization and how it's going to help you move forward.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I think one of the best pieces of advice that I got from anyone, and I don't even remember where this came from, is that you should be able to do something yourself before you give it to someone else. Even if you're not good at it, you should at least know what you're talking about and be able to do it. And that's so true, because I think, like if you try to explain to somebody, if you are throwing your social media strategy at someone and you're like, just do this, just look at my old posts and my old captions and then figure it out from there. It's like, how are you supposed to take that further than a few posts and actually know what the heck you're doing? So I love that you're helping founders really lay the foundation for not only what they can implement themselves if they need to, but they can also give to somebody else to implement for them, should they simply not be able to do it themselves or have the bandwidth to do it themselves. That is so smart. And I love from your perspective, I was kind of thinking about so many, companies that hire marketing agencies and hire, people to do this stuff. I think what I love about what you do is that you are a founder yourself. So you understand what it feels like to be a founder and what it is like to go through the process of hiring and of having too much on your plate and of doing every single thing in your business and of trying to figure something out that you never knew how to do before. And so I think like just having that insight and being able to work with people who have been in the same boat as you is so valuable, because not only do you listen if there is something new, you're such a good listener, you already have a foundational understanding of what they've been going through, which is so amazing and so valuable and so helpful. And I'm imagining that you built your course with that in mind, and all the things that you're putting out there into the universe, that like you understand that it can be tricky and it can feel big and it can feel scary, but that it's totally possible if you just focus on these particular things.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, it can definitely be very scary and overwhelming. And yeah, I think again, it is if you can kind of take that step back and just understand why you're doing something and get very focused and get that clarity that you need to move forward. I think so many times we start in a place of action because we think we should be doing something, or it's like, if I just do a bunch of things, something will happen, right? Yeah. And it's like, it might for a little bit, but then I guarantee you're going to burn out.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just, again, taking that step back and really looking at the whole picture.
Yeah, I love that. And I bet that at least I remember when I got to a point in my business where I sort of forgot why we started it, which is such a silly thing to ever do. But I think that happens to so many of us.
So common. Yeah.
Yes. And I remember being like, should I even be in business anymore? Maybe I'm not meant to be a business owner. Maybe I need to get a job. Maybe I need to do something else. And like, I started, yes, I know we've talked about this before, but I like freaked myself out and I got myself like into this negative talk about like, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. And then the one thing that brought me back to feeling energized again and being like more excited than I had ever been about the business was simply why we started and why it mattered so much to us. And as soon as I like remembered that, which is funny because it didn't take a lot of energy just to simply remember why we started. I just wasn't doing the right thing before. Once I did, I was just so excited and so energized and just wanted to share what we did with as many people as we possibly could and just be like, we're awesome. We're going to make your wedding awesome. Like, it just was like so amazing to do that. And I think that if anybody is feeling this way, that like they're a little bit disconnected from their business, that just finding that foundation of like why they do what they do and what their values are and kind of what they want to do with their business and who they want to serve will like re-energize them so that like burnout or frustration they're starting to feel will sort of be gone. It'll be in the past and they can just move on with so much more excitement for how many people they can help moving forward, just having this newfound energy.
Yeah, it does energize you. And I think being able to take that step back and reconnect with that as often as possible is so important. And it's so easy to kind of just be focused on what you need to do in your to-do list. And it's amazing how fast you can be kind of disconnected to that. And that's again why I'm like, if you can have it on a wall and like look at it every morning, I think that helps a lot. And yeah, I think, you know, it's going to change a little bit too. I think is something that will, as your business evolves, you're going to evolve and so are your customers. And so I think being able to take time, if it be like once or twice a year, to take a day away and kind of really look at, you know, what's happened and how am I shifting or changing, or maybe one of your core values might shift, or you're going to use a different word to describe it. And that's totally okay. I mean, we're supposed to be growing and evolving and our businesses are going to as well. So I think being able to take that time to reconnect, it be daily, but to go deeper too, and even ask, why is this my why? Yeah. and go deeper on that a couple times a year. I think it's just going to help you show up, you know, and really help people. And it's not only going to be clear to yourself, but it's going to be clear to the people that you are trying to serve.
Yeah. I love that. You're so amazing. I even have like more questions that I wrote down, but we should probably close out because we've been talking forever. I could talk to you forever. We have talked forever.
Same.
We've had like several hour dinners and things. But I'm going to open up the floor for anyone. If you do have questions, please remember to add them in the comments. We'll take them before we sign off. If no questions, or while you're thinking of questions, Charlotte, if you can just remind us all where we can find and follow you, the name of your course and your podcast so that people can find that. And I will also make sure for anyone watching that I add it in the comments so that you can find it after, but go for it.
Cool. Yeah. So no, I'd love to connect with anyone. Chipperfieldmedia.com is my website. You can find me here on Instagram at Charlotte Chipperfield. And what was I going to, the podcast. Yes. The Holistic Marketing Podcast, which you should find on all platforms, be iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. And then on Thursday next week, I am doing a free webinar. So I'm going to talk more about the holistic marketing system and process. And the course, or I guess I should say that's on Thursday. It's the 20th already on Thursday. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's going to be 2 p.m. Pacific time. So I know it's a little bit later East Coast time, but that's a free webinar. You can register at chipperfieldmedia.com/webinar. And then the course is called the Holistic Marketing Roadmap. So there's a holistic marketing theme here.
It is awesome. And you're also writing a book, and you can find articles from you on Sway Media. And where do you post those, like outside of Sway Media, so people can link back to them?
Yeah, so I'm also putting them on my blog. So if you go to Chipperfield Media, you can get to the blog. And then there's a link that says it was originally posted for Sway Media. And then I also post them on LinkedIn as well. So you can find me, Charlotte Chipperfield, on LinkedIn.
Yay! Awesome. You are incredible.
You're incredible. Thank you for doing these.
I'm so happy once again. I feel totally energized, and I'm excited even to dive back into all of this stuff, because all of these questions that I asked you about it being like so large and overwhelming and just not doing much with it sometimes happen to me. So I need to remind myself to go through these things. But you have so many amazing resources online. If you loved what Charlotte said today, please follow her, Charlotte Chipperfield, Chipperfield Media. Check out her website. She has a downloadable guide on her website too that helps guide you through a few things. That is kind of, I would say, maybe a precursor to your course that gives you a lot of really amazing nuggets of information that you can sort of use on your own. But Charlotte's amazing. You heard her today. She's incredible. The best listener ever.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It means a lot to me.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
thank you for everyone tuned in. I appreciate it.
Look at you, a little sign off.
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you to everyone.
No, I love it.
I love it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's so perfect. But yes, thank you. Thank you to Charlotte, and thank you to everybody who tuned in today. You were awesome. Thanks for all the comments and the hearts and the likes and everything. And remember to join me next week every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on my Instagram. I do a new Freelancer Live with a new guest, so check in next week. And thank you again, Charlotte. I'll put all her information in the comments if you guys want to find and follow her and check out the webinar and all that fun stuff.
Thank you.
Yay. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. Bye, Charlotte.
Thank you. Bye.